Hello, everyone. Welcome back to TTLIY podcast, where we chat about realistic leadership theories. What's it? This has been amazing conversation so far with Jelise Keating. We are continuing the conversation on youth. Youth are the now and not the future. And I'm gonna say this on every next we have a last episode, and I'm gonna continue to say that. But I'm gonna continue to say it in any context. They're the now. They're not the future. They're the now, and we should treat them as such. Jelise, thank you so much for coming on and doing these episodes with us because it's so important to hear knowledge because you are a young person as well yourself. And I'm a young person myself. And
Yep.
so also coming from lived experience and also from ways of how we've been treated as youth and stuff like that. So today, we're going to take this conversation into why organizations have certain policies and guidelines and how it affects young people. Uh, let's just take a moment. Uh, Organizations, we just thank you so much for creating guidelines and policies that does not reflect youth voices. We thank you for that. And I'm not thanking you from a real perspective. I'm just thanking you sarcastically, or because it's bizarre how many organizations bring young people into their guidelines and policies without having their inputs. Let's go into the conversation. Jelise, what do you think about that? Let's just, it's a reflection. You just let it out. What do you feel?
Um, oh man, I have so many words. I think it's kind of silly. I
Yeah.
understand if there's policies around safety and compliance and understanding like, okay, if this situation happens, this is what you do, and here's some guidelines so that we avoid certain things. But a lot of the policies that block youth from actually being a part of organizations and being comfortable in those spaces are foolishness.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
foolishness. Just to get
Yeah.
down to the basics of it, it's foolishness. Why? Because you want them to come and work for you, but you have no room for them based on the policies you have in
No.
place. You
Right.
want them to be part of your organization, but there's no leeway for them. And I'm not
Yeah.
expecting them to be able to run amok and do whatever they want. It's still an organization at
No.
the end of the day. But having
Yeah.
policies that allow them to actually operate in the space in which you want them to be in is crucial
Yeah.
to any and every organization. It doesn't matter if you're retail or nonprofit and everything in
Yeah.
between. You want youth to be a part of your dying industry and you have no space for them. Your policies
Yeah.
don't allow them to be there. Your procedures are not even written in a way that your top management understands them, but you want youth to understand them, but you can't explain it.
Yeah.
Your workers
No.
are not following them, but you expect youth to come in and follow the same thing, follow what you tell them to do
Yeah.
when the people on your floor don't even listen to what to what is being told or what's written in the policies. You haven't updated your
Wow.
policies in the past 15 years. You're still operating the
I
same
have a
and
problem with
you
that.
don't accept changes. You don't
Yeah.
listen to anybody. Like there's so many, oh my gosh, Templeton. There's so
You
many
know,
things wrong with
yeah.
with it.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, listening audience. This is raw and authentic, and we're being real on this episode because sometimes I'm tired of the foolishness. I'm just tired of organizations. I've sat on 8 different board directors, and I've seen how young people are being served and how young people are being seen and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I have a problem, especially when you're trying to create a different policy and guideline and then you create a consultation opportunity for young people's voices, and then you're not actually welcoming true feedback. It's like you just want like your inner house feedback. Like how do organizations really go out there to do these consultations? What are your suggestions, Jelise?
Take negative feedback. Don't
Mm,
take it as an attack on your project or your idea or whatever.
yeah,
Just take it for what it is. If you're
right.
the one thing I'm always going to say, and I'm going to say it over and over again, is show me the numbers. Because everyone's so concerned about the numbers, the numbers, the numbers. Oh, we got to reach a certain amount of people. Okay. But if you're
right,
reaching less than 1% of the fraction of youth that are actually within your community, then what are we doing? What are we actually
yeah,
doing? We're not reaching anybody. We're not making an impact in our community. We're not doing anything special. So when a youth tells you that your idea is boring or it's not engaging or it doesn't feel like it's actually for the youth, take that feedback because that's real.
yeah,
And you want everybody to pat you on the back and tell you you're doing a good job. You're not. Let's be honest. You're
yeah,
not. And
yeah.
that's okay. That's
It's
okay.
okay.
Sometimes we need that
Yeah,
negative feedback. Sometimes we need to hear, you know what, I don't think that's a good idea. Sometimes we need
yeah,
to hear, you know what, I understand you have the budget to do that, but I don't
yeah,
think you're going to reach the amount of people you want to reach. Or
yeah,
sometimes we need to hear aim higher, look
yeah,
higher, look
yeah,
wider. You're trying to reach
yeah,
people that are within your reach, but what about those who aren't? What about the
yeah,
unreachable? Man, Templeton, the
yeah,
unreachable are not unreachable, and you just can't reach them. Not with your
yeah,
ideas, not with your policies and procedures and mandates you have in place, not with your lack of interest, not with your
yeah,
burnout. If
yeah,
you don't have the capacity to do it, allow somebody else to sit in the seat. You don't have to be
yeah,
the leader. You don't have to be the head. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be
yeah,
you. And the
yeah,
more we understand all of these things,
yeah,
the better we'll be at making an impact in the community the way that it should be, or the way that it can
yeah,
be. If we just allow for
right,
more youth voices to be in the mix, if we allow for
yeah.
their negative feedback, their negative comments to actually make impact before that idea leaves the room.
Uh, I so agree that we need to allow you to lead in more different ways, and we people who are employees who are in power, you don't have to just be the holder of of some of these projects. Allow some of these youth to lead these projects, hear their ideas, hear their suggestions, actually take them into consideration, not just say that you're going to just listen and come back to them. No, take it into consideration. Those are really important pieces because I love my former organization, Teamwork Cooperative. I shout out to them
Mm.
because they allowed me to create, and they, when you say holding space, they hold space for me to express myself and to share really how I'm feeling. I do things in a respectful way, but I will be direct. I'm a very direct person, and I don't sugarcoat it. And so they appreciate that honesty. And my executive director, Marcus Jameson, big ups to Marcus because you're an awesome individual. You're an exceptional leader, or someone who I respect, and someone we need more of, who listens to young people's voices, but also want them to lead and actually want them to expand, and also want to see how we can make things happen.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about organizations. We need more organizations that are open. And I know we still have um leaders who have been there for 20, 30 years, and this is why the systems is the way how it is. And I respect leaders who are there for many of years. But you also have to be adaptable leaders who can change in order to
Yeah.
welcome new growth. And
Yeah.
so what do you say to those leaders who are still stuck on changing policies and for young people to be flexible? They want to see young. I've seen this narrative that, oh, I want to see young people crying. I want to see them crying after their full days of work and whining and not getting what they want. And there is a narrative out there where a boss who is very high up there, and they want to hire a young person, and they just want to see them whining and crying so that they can reach to the full potential and say that's hard work. That's what we call hard work. No, it's not. It's mental breakdown.
Yeah.
It's burnout for them. You're not
Yeah.
giving them room to change that. And so
Right.
let's talk a little bit about that. Yeah.
I love how you passed that over to me. If your environment is not only physical, if it's only, I'm going to change that. If
Mhm.
your environment is only physically
Yeah.
safe, it's
Yeah.
not psychologically safe,
Mm.
then youth are going to be the future and your organization is going to be past because
Oh,
because we need that space We need that
Yeah.
space. If all of your employees are burning out and hard work means breaking someone's back for you, you're not only breaking their back, you're breaking their mind,
Yeah.
you're breaking their
Yeah.
passion, you're breaking their
Yeah.
drive or fire, you're breaking them down in
Yeah.
a way that you will not be able to build them back up.
Right. Right. Right.
There's a
That
difference
sounds great.
between guiding somebody and helping them
Hmm.
learn the way that the organization runs and helping them learn the way so that they can make changes
Yeah.
and breaking them down so that nothing changes ever. We need to be constantly evolving. We need to be constantly
Yeah.
growing and learning, not only as individuals, but as organizations as well. And if you can't
Yeah.
do that, prepare to be passed because
Yeah.
somebody else is going to come in, take over, and do your job better than you are now. And they're going to be willing to listen and able to make the changes that you were refusing to put in place. And that's what's going to happen. So good luck. Make the change now or
Yeah.
see you later or see you never.
See you
I guess
later.
we'll see in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, I agree. And organizations often implement policies to ensure safety and compliance and where they want to go. But like, how can these policies be designed to prioritize the well-being of youth while still fostering an environment that encourages empowerment and innovation? What do you have to say about that?
Listen, first
Mm,
and foremost, listen to what youth need in an environment.
yeah,
Do a assessment, do an internal assessment.
yeah,
Understand what your current employees need in their environment that are lacking. Speak to
yeah,
youth. Understand what they think of your organization as a whole. Because when you think whatever somebody close to you is telling you about your organization, your employees are saying one thing, the community is saying something different. So be willing to listen. Be
yeah,
willing to hear what hasn't been said to you and has to be
yeah,
said to you. Open
yeah,
up the boundaries. There's so many
yeah,
barriers to the community and employees telling organizations the truth about what they think about them. I am
yeah,
not one who's who's willing to hold back what I have to say, especially when it's true.
right. Yeah,
Doesn't matter who
I
you
can't.
are.
It will eat me alive if I don't
Yep.
say it. I tell people I'm like, and that's what I used to do at my organization. I'm like, I have to be with this person at 8 a.m. as soon as they get in because this is an issue and I need to address it so that when
Exactly.
moving forward, this is not a problem and this is not a
Yep.
hindrance to my job as an individual. And so like, and that's what I think. Being true and authentic, but also respectful about it. That's what I did as a young person. I was true. I called my bosses into meetings. I'm like, I'm gonna need to meet with you. I have an
Yeah.
issue. And they know when Templeton has an issue, they know it's an issue. They know he's just not gonna like sit. And I mean there were some things that I could have I mean I went through channels, but like I'm like, you know what? I have to speak to my truth. In order for me to want to flourish, I
Yeah.
have to do that.
Yeah.
That's really
Absolutely.
important. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And open the doors. Oh my goodness. When I hear open door policy,
Yeah.
I I really hope that that's exactly what you mean. As in, you're not in a meeting and the door is open. I can come in
Yeah.
and sit down and say, hey, this is an issue that I think we need to discuss and
Yeah.
resolve quickly as possible because it's not going
Yeah.
to help anybody on our team get any further.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this organization as a whole is going to break down from the inside out. Because if your
Yeah.
team can't hold it together, if your team has
Yeah.
if there's internal conflict within the
Yeah.
organization, the
Yeah.
community already knows that. They see it.
Yeah.
They see it in the way
I
you
agree.
operate. They see it when one of your employees or team members are supposed to be in the community speaking with people. Now they have an attitude.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
evident. So
Yeah.
open the doors. Open the doors and be
Open the
willing to
doors.
listen. Listen
Make it
to
wide
what
open.
everybody has to say. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying take everything to heart because sometimes people
No.
want to complain because they just want to complain. But if you
Yeah.
had someone like
Yeah.
Templeton who's going to come and tell you the truth and be respectful and give it to you straight, you need someone like that in your corner. You need someone like that who's
Yeah.
going to then be able to help you navigate through all of the just random complaints that sometimes people get
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, yeah. 'Cause there are some random complaints, and I feel like I have the complaints, but then most of my complaints are accurate, and they need some addressing and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
What? Yeah. What quote do you have for us, or saying a tip before we wrap up this episode, like to
Ooh.
inspire leaders who are policymakers? And this is not only to executive directors, but this is also to board of directors who have a say in some of these policies and guidelines. What do you have to say to them as they think about young people?
Wow. Wow. I know this has to be said, so I'm gonna be the one to say it. Stop trying to serve past you in the now, because the community is
Mm,
not made up of you. The community is made up of actual people who are
yeah,
living in different circumstances. Be
yeah,
willing to listen to them,
yeah,
but more importantly, be willing to actually go out and ask them.
yeah.
Because if you cannot answer those questions based on who you were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, yesterday, then
Mm,
you got to ask somebody else. And if you're not willing to do that, when coming up with policies and mandates and procedures,
mhm.
then are they serving the people who are actually working for you? Are they serving the people who are actually coming into your organization? That's the question you really need to ask. Is this serving the people of the community who are going to be a part of
Yeah,
this organization? And if it's not,
yeah.
you got to make a change. It's time.
I I agree 100%. The skill of willingness is needed across this country. The skill of willingness is definitely something that we should also. I have a and I also I have a skill of willingness, not a skill of trying, but a skill of willingness. Because trying is something that goes a long way, but willing is goes a longer way.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then stuff like that. So once you have the skill of willingness, that helps you forward. Anyway, I conclude this episode by thanking Jelise again. We have one more to conclude on this conversation. I can't wait for us to talk. So, listen, your audience. We'll see you at the next one. See
See you.
ya.